All right, we got PC gaming is slowly destroying itself from Vex. Okay, let me see.
Do you remember when the GTX 1080 Ti dropped? It was amazing for its value and its
Yeah.
performance.
The greatest card that NVIDIA's ever made, and we've regularly said it's a mistake that they probably won't make again.
It just stunned everyone, but it wasn't even just that card. GTX 1070, 1060, all great cards. AMD was even making an RX
Oh, what was that? Look at that price.
this time. Great value cards still top the charts for AMD at least. AMD was even
Like,
making
look at this price. $380, $450 on, like, what is this, day one? 6.5 teraflops, whatever the fuck that means. Bro, could you imagine this? Holy shit, dude. Bro, nowadays it's like literally just add a zero and then you got today's prices for these graphics cards. The what is it? Like the 40 whatever, 4080, 4090, whatever it is.
making an RX 580 and 480 around this time. Great value cards still top the charts for AMD at
Bro, this is crazy. AMD Radeon RX 580. That's crazy.
least on the Steam hardware survey. These cards were great. CPUs were also accelerating at a rapid pace. But nowadays, you'd be lucky to get any decent generation of anything on PC. Unless you're talking about AI.
AI era. AI is AI company. AI PC.
That's been progressing very quickly. We're
Well, this is news to me. AI, like they're gonna take your graphics card out and just what? Just have you do cloud gaming and shit.
actually getting decent improvements generation on generation. The RTX 4090 is pretty amazing. Every 40 series card is actually pretty amazing performance and a feat of engineering, but the price of their cards have been pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's damn near double. Add $200 more and it's double.
That's the thing with the upcoming
From one generation to the next, you're gonna double the price. I mean, understandably, the price is, when the next card comes out, if the next card comes out, what was this? This $1,200 card will then move down to be the $700 card, and then the next card will probably be the $1,200 card because that's just how technology goes.
coming RTX 50 series of GPUs, they look really, really good too. The RTX 5090, some more leaks have been coming out. It just seems like this card is going to be a monster if these
Damn.
things are true. But
Bro, I'm still rocking like a 2080. Holy.
with all that's been going on, I don't think this card is going to be cheaper than a 4090. I don't think an RTX 5080 is going to be cheaper than a 4080. It might be
No.
the same price. And a lot
No, when was it ever that the new thing came out and it was cheaper? No, that's never been the case. No, like on day one, month one, year one, when the new product comes out, it is the most expensive. And then a year or two later, the price will eventually go down. At what rate? Who knows how fast it'll go down.
a lot of price points below like $500 or so. AMD does offer probably the best value GPUs that are there, but it's not super exciting or riveting where it's like, oh, I have to buy this AMD GPU or else I'm missing out on a great deal. And on the CPU side of things, it really is not that much better. AMD, for example, their Zen 5 Ryzen 9000 series CPUs just recently launched. We've seen like a 2% uplift in performance.
Damn. Okay, so it's like oh no. Oh, God dang it. Stop. What is that? Get out of here. We have reached the point where the graph goes like this. That's a graph. And then it's going like we are about like right here. And yes, the new card will come. Like this is like the current card, and like the new card will come out. It'll be like a little bit better, but then when they show it, it's gonna look like this. It's gonna look like the old one was like this, but the new one it's all damn near off the charts. Oh my god. It's up stonks. Oh yeah, it's so much better. Yeah, that's the marketing of it every time.
performance. And now there's things coming out that AMD is saying that in certain cases, if you
Bro, they can't even do a good representation. Look how tiny this bar. Look how this is 10% faster. There's no shot this is even like accurate at all. Warranted extended CTDP to 105 watt for the Ryzen 5 9600X and Ryzen 7 9700X. 10% faster. Oh my god, that's 10%. I could be winning more matches in my League of Legends game, in my Counter-Strike game, in my Deadlock game, in my Valorant game. This 10%. Oh my god, I gotta get it. It's a competitive advantage.
unlock a new mode on it that the CPU can draw more power, that in certain scenarios, the CPU could be 10% faster. Whoa. A
Whoa.
normal generational uplift is 10%, and we're just clamoring to get that 10%. We really need it. So
Yeah.
AMD's latest generation really hasn't been that exciting. Even Ryzen 7000 series, though it is decent now, was really overpriced at launch, or really hard to get into that platform. Now on the Intel side of things, it's honestly a lot worse. For like over 6 years, Intel was just basically making Skylake their same CPU.
Wait, anyone can explain what is 4 nanometer plus and how it differs from 14, I guess, nanometer? I don't even know what that measurement is. CPU. I heard even through Intel does not have 7 nm and AMD, but the CPU has higher transistor density. And in the past 5 years, Intel has optimized 14 nanometer on numerous occasions, with each new release adding a plus. Okay, Intel is pushing 14 nanometers so hard for clock speed that it's now inefficient. It is an inefficient node in terms of power efficiency.
Use over and over again until finally they did switch up. But as of the most modern Intel CPUs, they're just blasting power on them to get their performance up as much as they possibly can. And to that
More
point,
power.
Intel is basically just killing their own CPUs. They're frying themselves over time because they got so much power heading into them. It's a mess. Then you add up all of this hardware stuff that's just not that exciting. Games are still getting more and more demanding, but our hardware hasn't been progressing near.
Single player games can be more demanding if, you know, the right amount of time and effort is put into them, and, you know, that, what do you call it? That optimization phase, you know, the team spends a good amount of time on the optimization phase, yes, but that's not every single player game. And you guys all know how multiplayer games go on for PC. What do? We open up the options, hit the graphics tab, all the graphics down, low, giga low, super low, turbo low, maximum low, god awful low on all the graphics. Maximum FPS humanly possible. I want 99999 frames. Okay. What else? Turn the ray tracing off. Turn the reflections off. Turn particles and fog elements off. Turn the stupid sunshine off. That's how all at least competitive multiplayer games go. Last time I checked, there hasn't really been a difference in culture in terms of that.
Nearly at the same rate. So what we're seeing is really terrible performance in games, even from some of the latest GPUs and CPUs that are out there. It's ridiculous how much sometimes you gotta pay just to get a decent experience on some of the newer games. So these chip makers have been making shortcuts to make games easier to run, like upscaling, DLSS, FSR, XeSS, as well as we're making frame generation to kind of double the performance in our games, at least visibly. Though there are very good technologies, these are just shortcutting making games a lot easier to run than they really should be.
Mm.
I think it's kind of hilarious. This
Yeah.
hurts my soul a little bit. How it's infested shortcuts to making games easier to run. This is Monster Hunter Wilds, a new game that's coming out in February of 2025. Very exciting
shit.
game. So as far as I can tell, if you have a decent GPU, all pretty fast.
Oh my, is this? Oh my God, is this section the minimum or the recommended? Shit, my computers might be at the minimum, dude. Fuck. Bro, I might need to buy a fucking computer. If this is because you know how you have like when a game comes out, sometimes they'll have like the minimum requirement and then the recommended requirement. Bro. This game is expected to run at 1080-60 with frame generation enabled under the medium graphic settings. Oh, medium graphics? Monster Hunter Wilds. That's like a single player game. Oh my God, I gotta run it medium? Ew. What's that meme? Brother, ew. Brother, ew.
Mid-range graphics cards that are at least $300. You're playing, from what I can tell here, 30 FPS at 1080p. And I think this is medium settings with frame generation enabled to get you to 60 FPS, which just feels awful to play because the game.
Bro, it sucks ass to be a poor person PC gamer. Not gonna lie. Like if you got a PC and you got like a regular ass job and you don't have something that's like very modern, holy shit, are you on the struggle bus? Jesus Christ. It's like this hobby of video gaming that was once accessible by like so many people is getting bottlenecked by the technology. I mean by many things, but one of them is the technology. Less and less people are making money. You know, you got inflation, all that shit. All these little parts and PC things, or if you want to get a pre-built, like none of this shit is cheap. Bro, this is like gaming is like becoming more and more of an extreme luxury. Like playing video, like take this with a grain of salt. Like playing video games is like, okay, it's already a luxury. You probably live in America or some like well-off first world-ish country, so you already have a lot of things going for you. But even in America, that the idea of video games becoming more what do you call it, just gatekeepy by technology and the amount of money you have, like that just sucks, dude. Like, fuck.
Doesn't actually run faster. It's still really laggy. Doesn't look good either when there's so many frames being generated that aren't actually made by the game itself. So it looks bad, feels bad to play. It's getting so bad that developers are putting this as recommended spec to have 30 FPS frame generation.
Holy.
The minimum specs of this game, they say 30 FPS. Okay? This is 1080p.
Oh my God, it is. I am a minimum requirement bro now. Oh, wait, no. I'm still recommended. Oh, fuck. Thank God. Wait, this is on the website. Wait, let me see. Monster Hunter Wilds website? Please don't be porn. Oh my God. Where do I see this? Where do I see this? Steam, English, media, Living World, Monsters products. Okay. Yes, no. Where's my system requirements? Maybe I typed that in. Monster Hunter Wilds system requirements. Websites. Monster Hunter Wilds PC system. Blah, blah, blah. Men's. No, don't care. Shut up. Steam. Okay. Minimum processor, Intel i5 10K series, memory, graphics card. Here's a graphics card. NVIDIA 1660, AMD RX 5600. Okay. Recommended. Oh, shit. Here we go. Graphics card, NVIDIA GeForce 2070 RTX or NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060. Jesus. AMD Radeon RX 6700 XT. Jesus. 140 gigs available. Oh my God. SSD required. Solid state hard drive required. This game is expected to run at 1080-60 with frame generation enabled under the medium graphics settings. It says it on Steam still. 30 FPS under the lowest graphics settings. Ugh. Ugh. Thank God Steam does those little like hardware surveys, because they can at least communicate to any developers creating a game on PC. Like, hey, this is our audience. Most of our bros have like 2080s and shit, or 2070s. It's the most common type of card. If you try to go higher than this, your sales will not sell. Your sales will not sell as well as if you make the recommended requirements as good as 2070. All right, 2070 is like the recommended. Anything else is just cherry on top. And the minimum is like, Jesus, dude. Thank God. Like, I'm all for like trying to have like a good experience in like a video game, especially in like a single player thing going on. But do you think if Steam didn't have those like hardware surveys, that some of these game developers would just go balls out and do all the recommended specs? Like, oh, you got to have a 4090 RTX 5000 i20 19,000 series, AMD 1100 RX Giga Super Chad big fat card thing. Do you think that's what the trend would be if they didn't have all this info? I think it would.
Upscaled with whatever upscaler that you can use. Devs are having to use these features just to get games to run because our hardware isn't really progressing, or games are progressing way faster than our.
And I think that's key. The games are progressing way faster than the consumer base, just hardware. And do you know what that's indirectly saying? The consumer base, and that's very telling, the consumer base is still like pretty poor. The consumer base doesn't have a lot of money. Yes, there does exist a piece of the pie chart where some bros have some like 3000 series NVIDIA graphics card, another sliver of the pie slice. Some people have like the 4000 series. That's fantastic. But what is the biggest pie slice? Probably at least the 20,000, or not the 20,000, the 2000 series, you know, because if you think that was still like pre-COVID, that was before the pandemic. So yeah, once that happened, inflation was just like, you know that game on Price is Right with like the little dude climbing the mountain, where it's like doo 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 doo, and he just keeps on climbing. That's been inflation since the pandemic. It just going up. All right, and regular people with regular households, where I don't know, technology maybe is not at the forefront. Like everybody, like I would say, is not like very like PC, like doesn't have like a strong understanding with PC stuff. Like just because you're a PC gamer doesn't mean you keep up with every little scientific PC piece of news. Like, oh, I gotta be up to date and da 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 da. Kind of how like Apple people are with their Apple phones, and I gotta have the newest one. It's just, bro, this is so crazy, because it's what he is indirectly saying is the funny part.
our hardware is. And these crazy system requirement specs are really anything I've experienced.
It's not just the reason we're not getting like crazy, like new game generation breaking games. It's the consumer base. We literally don't have the money to upgrade our computers as fast as they're upgrading their artistic vision, style, graphics, whatever you want, complexity of systems, amount of mobs on the scene or screen. Because if the consumer base did have, like, let's say the big pie slice of the consumer base had like 4,000 series and whatever similar thing for AMD. I mean, games would be like epic, even more so. You know, we've already had some bangers within the last couple months. All right, but just imagine if everybody had like the 4,000 series, like everybody had like slapper PCs, like 10K PCs and shit. That'd be crazy. We'd get like some mind-blowing games, but we can't.
To myself, these aren't unique to just Monster Hunter Wilds. This is basically every new game that's coming out, at least AAA games, unless they're like a PS4 port or something like that.
Yeah.
It's even got to the point with hardware just being mediocre that consoles that usually have really good value for the price are struggling to get decent performance.
Bro, this is Star Wars Outlaws. Where is the value here? Period.
Games. PlayStation 5 is getting like 30 FPS at all times, upscaling from like 720p in a lot of games. Really bad. And the PS5 Pro, and it kind of looks decent. It's getting improved upscaling, which is a good thing. We like improved upscaling. It's good. They didn't even upgrade the CPU, maybe because it costs too much. I'm not exactly sure. But the GPU is a little bit faster, and that should lead to better performance in games. The thing with consoles is they're supposed to be like affordable, but even consoles are still getting that treatment where they're getting more expensive and you're getting less for your money. The PS5 Pro is like $700, and they price gouge you to $800 if you want a freaking disc drive.
Holy shit, $700? Yeah, well, that's because console is pushing for all digital all the time. All the games are live service, even the single player games, which is hilarious. But that is just the current trend that these guys are pushing. And every time I see the PS5, it always reminds me of like some meme I saw when this shit first came out of like, it's Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the Kaiba collar. Oh, so funny.
I'm sorry, console players, but you're finally experiencing what we've been experiencing on PC for quite a while. The narrative that's been going around is that Moore's Law is dead.
Moore's Law is probably currently running at about 2 times.
Moore's Law is dead.
Now, what is Moore's Law? Every 2 years, the transistors, or the little switches that are in our CPUs, our GPUs, basically more transistors in a thing usually makes it more efficient and faster. That every 2 years, our transistor count is supposed to double, and the price for these transistors, as the whole chip, is supposed to be cut in half, which is basically exponential growth for transistors. Basically, the narrative that's going around right now is that this law is dead. But is this really true? Is this the reason our hardware isn't nearly as exciting nowadays? Because are these companies actually just getting greedy now? Is that...
No. We have the ability, the capacity, the capability to make some baller ass at home custom PCs. We have the ability to make baller consoles. They know that. But the crux of it is, if they were to make those consoles and PCs available for like commercial like use with like all this exponential growth, the price on it would be so absolutely mind-blowing, nobody would be able to buy them. All right? You could like bro, paint again. Brush. Histograph. But I will never be able to do a straight line. We have the capability to do something to make consoles and PCs go something like this. Like, whoa, that's so much. Whoa. You know, we have that capability right now. But look at the prices of, well, not just the prices, like the performance can already do this in PCs and consoles. But the other thing you have to take into account is who can afford that? All right? Because what has been, look at inflation, look at the current minimum wage. Yeah, it's going up to like $15, or maybe it was. But okay, this is like a horrible graph. Let me go back. Okay, new thing. Bop, bop. Squiggly line. Okay, here's performance. Right there. Super crazy. Okay, let's, like, what's a good curve? Right about there. Exponential growth. Yeah. Okay, so now look at people's minimum wage jobs. Like, maybe it'll go up. Something like this. Once you reach like this point, performance just gets astronomical, and this is like exaggerated. It's not perfect. Maybe there was a time where you could afford this shit and performance was fantastic. Or maybe I should have started this like little line down here, like maybe like about the same spot. But the point is this right here. That we have the capability to get super crazy consoles and computers, but nobody has the money to pay for it except the super ultra rich people.
That why Moore's law is dead, so that they can sell us underwhelming parts for a higher price because they can't keep up with this law. I mean, like, why does an RTX 4080 now cost $1,200 when a 3080 costed $700? It sounds like a simple request and a very easy one, but obviously it is more complicated for these companies to do. So I want to ask the question, why are we in this situation that our hardware is slowing down?
Because not a lot of people have a lot of money. That's it. And then you ask, why don't people have a lot of money? Well, you could ask that question about literally any time in American history for like the last 300 years or whatever. Why don't most people have more money? That is the age-old question. The haves versus the have-nots. Yeah, that's literally it. If you're working at McDonald's or Walmart and you're trying to be on the bleeding edge of PC or console gaming, good luck. That's all I'll say. Good luck. Oh, man.
This is just one aspect. That is because the advancements in chip technology and processing and fabrication of these things, its advancement is slowing down. And that is basically the Moore's law is dead thing. Unless you got a really steady hand or you're on Adderall or something, I don't think you're going to be making these chips. We are getting closer and closer to the limits of physics. And the machines that we have making them nowadays, I mean, they're getting down to like 3 nanometer. And this is really important because of obviously if the technology doesn't keep improving, then we can't make more efficient and more powerful chips. And if we look on AMD's RDNA,
I mean, well, yeah, there's no, what's that physics thing where like you can never have like a piece of energy just go in a closed loop and just maintain itself or something without giving off any extra like heat as a byproduct or something. I know that's like a physics thing. I'm retarded, so excuse me. Yeah.
DNA 4 7000 series generation, their top end chip is the 7900 XTX, 57 or 58 billion transistors.
Yeah.
If we look at their previous generation RDNA
1,000 million.
and you can see that this guy only had 27
27,000 million.
billion transistors. So the 7900 XTX has over twice the amount of transistors in it. That is in a 2-year period. So the latest generation from NVIDIA is the RTX 4090. This is Ada Lovelace 40 series graphics cards, okay? 76 billion transistors. I know it says million, but that's 76.
I like saying 76,000 million because it's more ridiculous.
Billion.
Like, no person can imagine a billion of anything. So why not just say fuck it and just say 76,000 million? People are going to look at you cross-eyed either way.
Transistors on it. Die area itself is 609 millimeters squared. We can go to the RTX 3090. And this guy had 28 billion transistors. It's kind of nuts that there's almost 3 times the transistors, the 4090 compared to the RTX 3090. Huge uplift, and you can see by the performance of the 3090 versus the 4090, yeah, this card is a lot faster. So you can see where transistors really make a difference here. We had the 2080 Ti was about 19 billion transistors compared to the RTX 3090 that had 28 billion transistors. Here's a 2080 Ti, the GOAT, 12 billion transistors on it, and these are relatively similar sized dies. The 2080 Ti is a little bit smaller than these other ones. Compared to NVIDIA 20 series that had 19 billion transistors, you can see that the die is actually just larger here. 1080 Ti is just significantly smaller here. So you can see that this guy had 24.7 million transistors per millimeter squared. That had 25.1 million transistors per millimeter squared. So you can see between these chips, actually, the 1080 Ti was more transistor dense. They're not really getting a large amount more transistors to this day for the die area. The density is what matters here. And this is kind of that Moore's law is dead thing. Our transistor count isn't really increasing at a huge amount, or if it does increase by a huge amount, the price of the card or whatever is still getting very expensive that it ends up really not being that insane of a difference. Why this is happening, it's getting insanely more and more complex.
So if I'm going from like a 2000 series, should I probably get a 4000 series, or should I wait to get for the 5000 series to come out? And that will be like the point of severe diminishing returns. We're already at a point of diminishing returns, but it's just how severe will the difference be between the 5000 and the 6000 series be?
Complicated in order to make these things, because you can just see 4090 here is on TSMC 5 nanometer. They're now on 3 nanometers, so it could get better. 7900 XTX was also on 5 nanometer here. It's like these are very tight, and we're starting to get to that point where, hey, it's getting really hard to manufacture these guys and actually making significant advancements for these processes. And if we start to get even lower than this, then we could run into even more problems. I'm getting this from Reddit. It's Reddit, the most knowledgeable people on earth here. We can't get smaller than 1 nanometer because quantum tunneling would say hello, which is basically we get to a point, electrons themselves in the atoms are going through quantum leaps, and we just can't make a decent process.
Classic mechanics. Whoa. Quantum mechanics.
So we can't control it anymore, or the yields would probably be atrocious. Or maybe there's ways that we could get it to work, but it seems like it's going to get very, very difficult and possibly a ton more expensive at that point. Then if it gets more expensive, then Moore's law is dead. I mean, what do I know though? I'm not a chip engineer. I don't work at TSMC or Intel or something like that. I don't know. I'm just looking at it from here, and it's like, I don't know what we're gonna do when we get to that point. How do we progress further? Where does computing go once we get there? If you do think about it though, there's always a point in every market sector. Like, are we really reinventing the hammer anymore? Are we reinventing a shovel anymore?
No.
Eventually we get to the point where these products really can't advance anymore. And we've seen insane advancements in computing and semiconductor technology over the years that it'd be like,
you got to figure out a way to advance somewhere else. I mean, if we're already nearing that point of instantaneousness, okay, well, let's say we have that. we have to be able to figure out some way to advance a different area.
Be like unprecedented to not have insane advancement, but we might just be getting to that point where how do we actually make these products better? Maybe how we could get them to perform better is instead of just using these general processors all the time, instead moving towards more and more hardware accelerated for certain tasks on your computer. Then we
Hardware accelerated ray tracing explained by Gary Sims. Video. Different level hardware accelerated RT. He did so from Imagination Technology Power VR Hardware Accelerator. There are 5 tiers of modern hardware. RT, what is, oh, ray tracing. Okay, my thoughts on his explanation of ray tracing. Tier 1, basically using shaders, compute units to do software ray tracing. Tier 2 is all about adding dedicated hardware support for box, triangle, intersection acceleration. I believe ray tracing in RTX cards is definitely at tier 2. Tier 3 is about BVH processing in the memory management, which we all know as the memory bottleneck in recent ray tracing games. This is the next step in ray tracing hardware development and could prove to be critical in deciding which hardware AMD, NVIDIA, or Intel has better ray tracing performance. Tier 4 is all about making the use of ray tracing hardware more efficiently by grouping the rays.
we could end up getting faster things in the future because that takes a lot more development time and software and all that, and also dedicated hardware. Now, another thing is
So not only do you have to buy a graphics card, you have to buy a dedicated ray tracing card. How hilarious is that going to be? And then if you look at what we've done with technology, there would have to be some sort of like, then you have like 2 separate products. I need the compatible ray tracing thing to go with my graphics card thing. But then if you want to simplify it, you just make a super GigaChad card where it just is like mounted on top of the thing, the ray tracing thing, and then the prices of graphics card would just shoot up like a crazy amount.
game getting very demanding, and the hardware that we have just cannot keep up with that. Could be an aspect of the industry that games are actually progressing way too quickly and asking it way more from our hardware, no matter how many software tricks and frame generations and upscaling that we use, no hardware would ever have kept up anyways. Although there is like a complete side of this, is these games that are so demanding, usually they're very demanding, because they look hyper realistic. They look photo realistic, some would say. Games can only look so photorealistic. At some point it's real life, or it's to the point where
this is like literally unnerving. This is so weird.
the diminishing returns of making a photorealistic game, the budget would just be insane out of control. Maybe people don't even want photorealistic games. So this is kind of a mute point in some aspect. I mean, in my opinion, Overwatch is literally one of the best games, best looking games, not best games, definitely not one of the best games.
You could ask any like top 500 bro, they will be able to pick apart every aspect of the current meta, the current game. And even me, I don't even play Overwatch, and I know the bad shit about Overwatch.
Best looking games to ever release, and it's still
best looking. It depends on your idea of like good looking. There's a lot of visual clutter. I can just pause it at a random spot. Look at all this. This is literally a smoke bomb. There could be someone behind this explosion. I don't know. But best looking, I mean, aren't looks subjective?
Is to this day. It's timeless in the way that Overwatch looks. It's not a realistic art style, but it can run on a potato. All kinds of different games also look great as well. Minecraft is the most sold game ever. Now, this is the third thing why I think a lot of our chips are pretty mediocre nowadays, and it might surprise you, because, you know, we're getting second-rate chips, whereas all the companies are selling to...
I think it is fantastic that all of these like new chips that are coming out are only slightly better, because there will come a time in the future, maybe the next 3 to 5 years, where everybody will eventually be able to catch up with the technology. Maybe it's not this year, maybe it's not next year or the year after that, but there will be a massive wave of people that went from like 1080s or 2080s to they're just going to be like, fuck it. I'm just going to go to whatever the current chip is. Maybe it'll be the 5000 series, and it will happen. Okay? So this little, like, if you're like on the bleeding edge of graphics cards and you're just like, new one came out, I got to get it. Well, you're already fucking yourself because it is what it is. But in terms of like everybody else that has been cruising on a 1080 or a 2080 for the last couple years, it's great for them.
To their enterprise consumers, and you know they're selling their big boy chip.
Bro, this is a computer motherboard. This looks like a as new and as advanced as this is. I feel like I'm watching a Johnny Five or Short Circuit, like a Short Circuit movie. And this is like Johnny Five in motherboard form.
Like Nvidia, they're selling AI to their big boy businesses and everything. But this might surprise you.
Wait, was that supposed to be like the AI motherboard? And they just happened to make it look like a face?
These processors that we personally use also are on the highest end manufacturing process that is available for them to be competitive. And you might have noticed when I was flipping through all of the GPUs and their transistors and everything earlier, yeah, most of them are manufactured by one company, TSMC. And it's because this one company is the most advanced one. NVIDIA with 30 series Ampere GPUs, they went with Samsung instead of TSMC. NVIDIA had a lot harder time that generation. They had to blast the power. They had to give it everything they got just to compete with AMD on RDNA 2 because AMD used TSMC and we're on a better process node than NVIDIA. TSMC is just really good, really well respected. For example, Apple makes their M series chips. Those are TSMC. Qualcomm, Snapdragon, they use TSMC for their chips as well. Not all of them, but quite a few.
I know you just said this is like a founder, like a chip making company, but to like a regular like PC gamer bro, not every PC gamer, just a regular PC gamer bro who is like casually into PC gaming, they don't care about this shit, dude. If anything, they're gonna be like, yo, what's the good one? Yeah, just put that in there. Yeah, pre-build it. Yeah, whatever. Just give me it. Don't break it. Put that extra foam shit in there. Yeah.
Few of them. The Arc A770, so Intel's GPUs, even though Intel has fabrication of their own, they actually use TSMC for their fabrication as well. And this is a good and a bad thing. Obviously, TSMC is ahead of the curve, so we're getting the best products. But also, TSMC has said themselves, like here, I don't exactly know where this quote comes from, but have admitted in mid-2023 that the demand for a chip on wafer substrate, whatever, has exceeded production capacity. And the company has vowed to double the capacity by the end of 2024. Basically, they don't have enough manufacturing to keep up with all these companies getting chips from them.
Oh shit, they're so good. Everybody wants a piece of TSMC. They're the fawns. They're the new guy. They're the cool kids. Everybody wants a piece of TSMC. Guys, we're only so good. We can't keep up with all the manufacturing demands, okay? One at a time, please. That's kind of funny.
Problem for multiple reasons. They can charge even more, or really whatever they want for these chips to be made, because really they're the only company on the planet to do it. And another side of this can be really dangerous because it is just one company.
Ooh, it's potentially a monopoly, but it's a monopoly well, why is it a monopoly? Because they're so good at doing what they're doing. It's not like they did some shady shit. I mean, I don't know. It's a big company. Maybe they did. I don't know. But it's simply because that their manufacturing processes are just so advanced and they put out such high quality products that, like, hey, they hate us because they ain't us.
And this one company is based in Taiwan. You know, if something just happened to Taiwan, guess what? World War III is going to be starting because the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
world needs chips. That's the only company that can make them. I will say that
Bro, it's crazy when you say it like that. Oh my god.
some other foundries are being built. I'd mentioned earlier that Intel can also do fabrication of their chips. Usually their CPUs are built on their own node.
Yeah, but they
Intel
ain't as
has
good.
all of these kind of foundries everywhere in the world, and they're expanding even more into the United States, which is probably good to separate where these things are in the world. And it'll probably lead to the US economy getting better. Hell yeah, freedom, guns, and cheeseburgers. Let's go. And that's
Let's
also
go, brother.
Intel possibly getting some deals, say like from Nvidia. Pretty sure right now Intel at their fabs is actually making some things for Nvidia at the moment. Pretty cool. And this is really only enabled by a recent thing that came out, because you would think Intel can't really do this because Intel isn't like TSMC. TSMC doesn't really care, but Intel obviously also makes graphics cards and CPUs. Intel has some issues that they might steal technology from companies. Intel is now actually thinking about chunking up their business. They might sell off their foundry business, or at least do a spin-off so the companies aren't really related and that other businesses can trust them more, so they can make some more revenue and actually get bookings. We've also seen things that apply to Intel, TSMC, and Samsung is the United States Chip Act, because the US is actually funding companies to make foundries in the US now. So more of these fabs from other companies will be out there at some point. But I'm not sure how much it's really going to help the situation, because these other companies aren't as advanced as TSMC is, and we are going to be making stuff on the highest process node. So if TSMC doesn't have the manufacturing capabilities, or they're just charging even more, then we're going to end up getting that cost passed down to us at some point in the future. Now, the fourth reason why I think this is all happening is that companies are prioritizing profits.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? A company
That's so surprising.
wanting to make money, or
who would have
having
thought?
to make money from their investors. That's huge, because when chips aren't that exciting and people don't really want to buy them, well, these companies need to charge more for the chips that are selling so they can make more revenue. They need to make more revenue year over year. This kind of relates back to that fab capacity stuff, because TSMC can only make so many chips, and these companies are prioritizing profit. You see where we're going here?
Yeah.
So the chips that they are selling, these companies are going to be prioritizing the ones that make them the most money. Nvidia, for example, well, they're going to make chips for their business, their enterprise. AMD, Intel, they're all mostly going to be prioritizing their enterprise customers in order to make the most money possible. These companies have realized just how much money there is in the business side of this and not in the consumer side. Because man, we're cheap. My last reason why I think we're in the situation we're in with PC hardware, the unprecedented amount of inflation that's been going on. I'll just pull up this thing from inflation calculator.
Oh, here we go.
From the United States. You can see in 2021, our inflation rate was 7%. In 2020.
Damn. Oh, look at that. Look at this bar graph, dude. It's like, oh, it went down. Negative inflation. Deflation. Oh my god. And then it went up a little bit. But then it went down. Oh. But then it went up. Ah, shit. This is inflation rate. This is the rate of inflation. This isn't like the actual numbers. All of these numbers signify the graph is still going up. So this looks good. It's like, oh, it's still, it went down. But all of these numbers still all represent up arrows of the value of the dollar. Or actually, like the down arrow for the dollar.
22 is 6.5%, and 2023 is 3.4%. So it seems to be balancing out. But you can see that these rates are insane for what they have been. It's not like it's going up 20% in a year or something like that, but it's a lot more than it typically is, and that does definitely affect the situation we're in. And higher inflation makes things cost more. For the companies and eventually to us in the process. Part of this inflation is caused by the pandemic. I mean, it's in 2021, 2022. What do you think? That's pandemic years. This is kind of an unprecedented scenario that doesn't really happen that often, and we're basically in a mini recession or whatever. This definitely affects the value of the products that we're getting at the end of the day. And again, these companies want to make money. They have literally zero incentive to make their products cheaper and take more of a cut of their profit in order to make affordable products for us. So that gets
Oh, so they'll just end up selling to businesses instead of just regular people, to the unwashed masses. Oh,
me to the big question. So we're at this point where GPU hardware, CPU hardware, everything just isn't that exciting. Things, even when they are good, are too expensive to really be reasonable. Can it get better, or will it get better?
probably not.
No. I mean, yes, it could get better. I don't think we're gonna ever be nearly at the same
So you're saying there's a chance.
rate of improvement that we ever were before. Because of all the reasons I listed above, I'd be surprised if we end up exponentially increasing our performance and our transistor count, everything. Now, some things like with price maybe could end up getting a little bit better because we are seeing all these other companies make foundries, and that means that we're gonna have more competition in the space at some point in time when they can maybe catch up with TSMC, if that's possible. The thing about it though is a lot of these foundries and everything are still years and years off. This isn't gonna be like a thing. It's not gonna happen tomorrow. And this whole situation, I think, it's honestly pretty sad. Over the years, we've seen so much improvement. We've seen generations of GPUs, CPUs that we've been genuinely excited for. It's like, what are we going to get next? It's going to be insane performance. Like, oh, the top tier card is going to cost $300 now, basically, from the last generation. It's going to be insane. And I don't think we're ever going to be seeing that type of improvement anymore. I hope, pray to God, that I'm going to be eating my words at some point, that I was wrong. Now, if you think I'm completely wrong,
Doubt.
go ahead and tell me. I'm not convinced things are really going to get better. They just keep trending to get worse. If every company that's out there is having these issues where things just are slowing down significantly, this seems like a completely industry-wide thing. PC hardware in general kind of sucks right now and has been sucking more and more over the years.
Yeah, consoles have been catching up to PCs. Like PS5 and Xbox, whatever, they're damn near like mid-grade PCs. They just are.
Just say don't upgrade your hardware every generation or every other generation. I'd probably wait 3 to 4 generations before you upgrade your stuff.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. That's what I've done. I in this computer, I got a 2080. In that computer, I got a 2070. I'll wait for like the 5000 series to come out. I don't need the 3 or the 4. I'll wait for the 5.
That's been it for me. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one. Try to. I'm gonna see ya. Peace.
Nice. That was a good ass video. Dang. I didn't really realize what was happening with PC chips and whatnot. This optimization has died. This is when you remember GTA 5 runs on a PS3. Oh shit, that's so funny. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, dude. Just wait. Just wait. When the 5000 series comes out, more than $2,000 for a graphics card. Yep. When it first comes out, don't buy it. I would say wait like a year or 2, maybe even 3. Then buy it. That's when it'll be most affordable. If you're trying to upgrade from like a 2000 series, because I know that's like a good majority of people that have PCs and whatnot. But overall, cool ass video, very information based. I mean, I learned a lot, but awesome. Keep it up, dude. And yeah, can't wait to see the next one. And that's it for me. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right, later.